Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another FIFA 22 video where today I'm going to be sharing with you what I believe to be a very new and secret meta formation that I've been using a lot recently and above all else having a lot of fun with, and especially at this time of the year with it being team of the season, with it being almost June, you want to just have as much fun as possible. And that formation in question is this 3-4-1-2. Now obviously it's very similar to the 3-5-2. I personally prefer this formation a little bit more than the 3-5-2. I don't particularly like having the DMs. It is naturally a little bit more defensive, but I like being a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more attacking, which is personally my style. So if you obviously prefer to be a little bit more attacking, then this formation will suit you very well. Now this is a super good formation. It is very good at counter-attacking, something like the 3-5-2. Also a lot of the 5-back formations, it is very good against playing them. Now obviously everyone's concern when it comes to 3-back formations is not having fullbacks, and we're going to address that issue when it comes to the instructions. But first of all, moving into the tactics, these are the tactics that I'm using for the 3-4-1-2, and in general it is very basic and nothing too complicated. Obviously the defensive style, we're going to be playing on balance. We don't want to push our luck playing on a press, and it's just not very necessary, I find, in this formation. I think it is a very difficult formation to play against anyway, because of the way it's set up. Obviously the way that we have it set up when we get to the instructions, but it is a very solid formation, so it doesn't really need any press. In terms of the depth, we've gone for around about 55, a little bit less than what I normally like to go for formations. I normally like to go for sort of 65-70, but because we don't have the fullbacks, I don't want to push it too high and make it a little bit too easy for my opponents. Obviously if you come up against someone with a team of the season Vinny, or a team of the season Neymar or something like that, and you don't have fullbacks, you're playing a super high depth, and maybe you don't have the fastest, most elite tier centre backs, you can definitely get caught out very easy. So we're just pulling it back on the depth a little bit, but we're still being aggressive, being over the 50 limit on 55. In terms of the build-up play, I've actually left it on balance because I want the instructions to kind of dictate how this plays, and I don't think any of the build-up plays really suit too well in this formation. Fast build-up can work quite well in this formation, but it can open the formation up, and given the fact that we don't have any fullbacks, I don't really want to take any unnecessary chances opening up sort of the defense and the midfield. However, we are going to use direct passing for the chance creation, and this is going to be really important because it's going to allow especially the front three, and when we get into the attacking areas, the wide sort of wing backs to get into really good attacking positions. And that's really important because they are wing backs, and that's the way we're using them. So when we're in attacking positions, I need them there, and when we're in defensive positions, I need them back, so the defense becomes a back five, which is how you would naturally play a 3-back formation in real life. The wing backs get forwards when you attack, and they get back and defend when you defend. So the direct passing allows all of our attacking players to get forwards, but it doesn't leave us too exposed defensively. And in terms of the offensive width, we've gone for around about 65. Naturally, I like to go for something super wide, like 100 when I'm using wing backs, but I don't want to expose the midfield. Again, given the fact that we don't have fullbacks, natural fullbacks, obviously the wing backs are going to take a little bit more time to get back in position, out of position. So I don't want them stuck out too far wide because it's going to make through balls very easy down that channel. So 65 allows some width in the team, but it doesn't open up that midfield too much. And then everything else is pretty much standard. Players in the box on 5. I don't want any unnecessary players getting out of position and running forward, especially the midfielders who are critical in this formation. And corners are gone for 1 because everybody just brings their goalkeeper out for corners, so you may as well just go short all the time, and obviously free kicks on 1 as well. Now when it comes for the instructions, of course, Alisson in goal is going to be on the natural comes for crosses and sweeper keeper, obviously, sweeping up anything that comes his way. So it's very simple for him. Obviously the back 3 as well, Gomez, Lahm and Van Dijk. Of course, you want as quick a centre-backs as you can muster up. Obviously, I've got Philipp Lahm in there, who's not an ideal player, but naturally, the way my team sets up, Lahm can double up as that third centre-back for me. But obviously, if you're going to play this formation, you want the 3 best and quickest centre-backs that you can get. Obviously, there's so many players to choose from now, hence why I've got my quickest ones, Gomez and Van Dijk. You want your fastest centre-backs on the outside, and whoever your slowest is in the middle, hence why we've got it set up that way. In terms of the 2 midfielders, obviously we've got Bellingham and De Bruyne. These guys, generally, you just want them as box-to-box midfielders. As we alluded to at the start of the video, we didn't choose the 3-5-2, and the reason why I'm using the 3-4-1-2 is because I want to be a bit more aggressive. 3-5-2 will naturally be a bit better defensively than this formation, but I feel like offensively this formation is superior in my opinion, and that's because the midfielders, we use them as box-to-box midfielders. Bellingham and De Bruyne do get forwards, and they do create and score, especially I found that they scored quite a lot of goals, got into some really good positions when the wing-backs got forwards. When I was looking for cutbacks, they were generally the ones that were there and tapping in the goal. So De Bruyne and Bellingham, you want to use them as balanced and box-to-box mids. Really important that you have two midfielders here that have got super high stamina. It's arguably one of the most important stats you need to look for because they have to do a lot of running in both boxes, both ends of the pitch. So it's really important that you get two midfielders that have got high stamina, or you want two midfielders that are very, very good quality, and then you've got some good subs off the bench. And it's important that as well they have some defensive capabilities, but also you can rely on them to score and create chances because they do need to do both jobs. Now, in terms of the cam, in terms of Heung-min Son, I've just got him on get into the box of crosses. I've left him off free roam, and in this formation, I don't think it's too necessary because we have two strikers in front and we have width out wide. He doesn't need to drift around. In this formation, he doesn't need to drift around. He's got two mids behind him, two strikers in front, and he's got width. So there isn't really anywhere for him to drift around to on free roam without potentially getting in the way of some other players. So in this instance, leaving him on stick to position is going to be really important. He needs to stay in that central position to be able to link up and get the ball off the midfielders, get the ball off Bellingham and De Bruyne, and play it through to the two strikers. And your cam is very, very important for doing that. Most importantly, he needs to really have good passing and dribbling because he gets into a lot of sort of the half spaces where he needs to sort of turn quickly and play through balls through, whether it be to Ronaldo or Haaland or Cancelo or Trent Alexander-Arnold. So it's really important that your cam has got good dribbling and, of course, very, very good passing. And then moving up to the two strikers, both these guys want to be on stay central and getting behind, and that's because our wing backs are providing the width, so we don't need them to drift wide. We need them to just stay in between the goal sticks, in between the posts, and making sure that they're there for any tap-ins, any crosses, or any through balls that come through from Son, or any wide crosses or cutbacks that come from Cancelo and Alexander-Arnold. So it's really important that those guys are on stay central. And moving back to the wing backs in terms of Trent and Cancelo, we've got these guys on comeback on defense, balance width, getting behind, and stay on edge of the box. That is pretty stacked statement, so let's break it down. Starting off with what would be deemed the only negative aspect of the way we've set this up, and it is that the wing backs are on comeback on defense. Now, this is really paramount, especially at this time of the year. If you're going to play a three-back formation, it's really important that these guys are on comeback on defense, and that is because number one, the quality of opposition that you're coming up against at this time of year is very high. It's generally a lot of the elite players, the only ones that are playing. So the skill level is quite high. And number two, the quality of players that your opposition is using. A lot of the time I was playing in elite division, I came up against a lot of Sons, a lot of Vinnies, a lot of like Mbappe's, a lot of high-end players. And playing in a three-back formation, not having fullbacks, if you don't have fullbacks and you leave that kind of space exposed with the quality of opposition, you just get completely annihilated. So if you have these guys on comeback on defense, it actually makes you incredibly difficult to break down, but it doesn't make you negative when you go forwards. There was so, like, Cancelo and Trent got so many assists for me. They were probably my leading assisters, and most of my chances actually came from out wide. But when I was out of possession, I was still difficult to break down. The only time that you're ever really in trouble is in the transition. You try and play a pass and you lose possession whilst your wing backs are up position. That's the only time you can really get countered and can get, in trouble. If you lose possession of the ball and the play slows down and they get back in position, you're very, very hard to break down. So it's really, really important you come back on defense. Whether it's deemed negative or not, the rest of the way this formation is set up is very, very attacking. Of course, these guys are on getting behind because we need them to get forwards. We need them to provide assists, crosses, and chance creation, and sometimes just a decoy run going forward. So it's an extra player your opponent has to mark. And naturally, we want them on stay on edge of the box because it makes them easier to get back into their defensive positions with them being on stay on edge of the box. We don't need these guys getting into the box for goals. We just need them being there to provide assists. So we don't need them getting in. Makes it easier to get back in defensive position. But that is it for the 3-4-1-2, and this formation is so, so good. I'm really pleased that I changed this formation, and maybe it's just fresh, just trying something new. I've been having a lot of fun with this formation. Obviously, with the French League Team of the Season and Foot Champs coming up, it's going to be very, very sweaty. But I'm just going to go in and play with something like this, play with something fun. And I've just had a blast playing with this formation. I love using wingbacks. I love getting forwards. I love using attacking formations. And this just suits it down to the ground. And I've had a lot of fun. So I recommend you guys try this formation out. And if you do have a good time with this formation, let me know in the comment section. There's also some things you can adjust to make this formation a bit more attacking or a little bit more defensive. So if you have any trouble, let me know down in the comment section. I'll do my best to help you out. Make sure you do subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. But that's all for today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.